Hello, and welcome to the Modern Day Intuitive Podcast. I am Sarah Noble, a certified shamanic energy medicine practitioner, somatic embodiment coach, Akashic record reader, spiritual mentor, and teacher of energy management and meditation. This podcast is born from my passion to help you reconnect with your heart and intuition. In each episode, you'll hear me channel guided spiritual information for a guest around a specific question or decision in their life. Afterwards, I break down the call so you can better understand how to connect with your own intuitive gifts, your spirit guides, and soul family. I will also give you practical exercises and tools that you can use to deepen your understanding of how to use this in your day-to-day life. Now, without further ado, let's get on to our caller. Hi, Rosie. Welcome to the podcast. How can I help you today?
Hi, Sarah. So I am looking for some help around making the decision on where to live after uh, selling the family home following my divorce. And I was there for over 20 years. And there's definitely some fear of making the wrong decision, um, some resistance to actually move forward with it. Yeah.
So, the first image I see is one of those old bicycles, like the ones when the front wheel is really big and then it has that little teeny tiny back wheel, and they would sit high up on the top. And the sense that you are sort of perched up there and it's feeling unstable. Feels like that big wheel is signifying that there is a lot underneath you. It's a combination of things. So some of this bigness underneath you is support. You have a lot of love. You have a lot of people that are holding you and there for you. And yet, I'm also sensing that some of it is coming from the things that you haven't looked at yet. So there's this sort of underneath part of you that is asking to be seen, to be heard, to be explored. And it is unsettling, and it has this feeling of like, oh goodness, I'm going to fall over. I'm going to topple over, like that sort of wobbly bicycle that there's this tiny little anchor at the back that isn't able to keep the stability unless you look at some of this stuff that is happening for you. How is that resonating so far?
I did have one of those bicycles in my old house, an ornament. Yeah, I think there are people supporting me. I don't allow them to. I think I'm really bad at asking for help. Yeah, that stability does feel wobbly, totally.
One of the things you had asked about was making the right decision or
Hmm.
afraid of making the wrong decision.
Hmm.
And so, what are some of the things that are running around inside your head that you're ruminating over or that you are going back and forward between?
The choice between moving closer to a city. All I can think of is I want more people around me, and I've always lived sort of in the countryside, or suburbia, I guess. But yeah, I think that is the tug between continuing to. I always think I've got this the green rolling hills or the the liveliness of the city. Both feel equally. Yeah, there's just no. It just feels like confusion
Okay.
that I keep tumbling between one and the other.
What fills your heart about living in the countryside?
Hmm. I think it is the scenery, going on these beautiful walks. Um, I currently walk down the side of a canal, which is, it fills me up whenever I go for that walk. Yeah, definitely the scenery.
And what about living closer to the city? What fills your heart about that?
People and the excitement of the possibility of new connections, new friends, literally seeing people. I worked for quite a long time from home. I mean, like years, since my kids have been growing up, and being able to walk out of my door and there be people, which, yeah, that hubbub. But definitely, yeah, people or trees, I guess. That's the decision.
Hmm. Is it the people or is it connecting to people?
I would probably think connecting to people because I know that connection is one of my big values.
So there's like this layered expansiveness that I feel that you're showing me this idea of healing. And yes, the walks along the canal, there's that water element that is coming through, which is so healing. And yet there's this pull in you from your heart that to me feels like it's asking for that deeper connection with people that was possibly missing through your marriage, and you're yearning for that, and
Mm-hmm.
yearning for this. Like, I see you just sitting holding this cup of coffee, and you're laughing with a girlfriend across the table, and just this real sense of like emotional intimacy that has been missing from your life at a
Mm.
level that your soul is craving.
Yeah, that's very true.
Mhm. Is there a way that you can see to have some of both of what is happening? So, whereby if you were to move closer to the city, do you have to give up all of what the countryside offers?
That's interesting you say that because I've rented a studio and that is by the canal. That's why I go on. So I work from that studio. And I was considering getting an apartment in the city and still working some of the time from that studio because I could work in blocks of days. I have that flexibility. So that's something new that had kind of come through to me maybe this last week or so, as a possibility.
How does your heart feel when you speak that out loud?
Mm, it feels calm and it feels calm and relaxed. The sort of the turbulence of a decision seems to relax a little bit.
Yeah, sometimes we get caught in the either or, and we forget that and is a very viable option.
Mm,
So you can have both.
yeah, yeah, it definitely does. And I've got my hand on my heart, and it definitely does really ground me, feeling, saying that possibility.
The way I feel it here is like this warmth just spread through my body. It started in my
Mm,
heart and it's spreading throughout my body, like almost like, oh, I can breathe again. Like that feels really nourishing.
yes, yes. I'm smiling actually because that does feel good. It does feel good. It kind of excites me because the other value that I have is variety, and I know that from doing that sort of work on what lights me up, and so that idea of working alone can get a little bit monotonous. So therefore, having that variety to be able to move between the two spaces feels exciting.
The word I get is magical.
Mm, I love that.
Mhm. As you're talking about it, there's this creation energy that is being unleashed. That's how they're saying it. And I feel it like full body goosebumps that
Mm,
there's um like you're stepping into this new phase of your life with absolute purpose and conviction of what you're here to do and where you're going with it, like how you are going to take it into your own sovereign power and make it happen. And by allowing yourself to see that there's this variety of possibilities, something just shifted and moved for you.
creation, that's interesting because I have this vision of one day, that this studio could be a workshop to create my own products that I can lock up at the end of the day. It doesn't matter if it's a mess, and that's something that is a dream of mine. So yeah, creation and creativity, and because my past is fashion and textiles, yeah, and I've kind of like moved away from that to have a career change, but I always know that it will be something that I go back to because I've, in some way, shape, or form, yeah. Or the photography, a photography, it could be my photography studio, but it feels like having these containers of variety, yeah, magical. It would be magical.
Mhm. Yeah, I feel it building as we're talking. It's like, yes, yes, I've been here waiting for you.
Yeah. That's really exciting. I did have a lot of lack of direction for a while until last year. And then I finally found what I feel that I'm here to do deep in my soul. And that's really exciting that, I'd kind of gone through a few other things that I was going to do, but it never felt, there's never a day that I get up and have one of those, don't really want to do, this is it. And that feels so good.
And to have that space that's dedicated to living your passion and your purpose is huge.
Yeah.
You're really telling the universe that you're all in when you do that.
Oof, that's given me goosebumps. Yeah. Yeah, that does feel really good. I'm kind of like hugging myself now. Feels comforting and warm to hear that. Yeah.
I honor you for, having the courage to make changes that put you on the path that your soul is calling you to. That's not an easy feat.
Yeah. I hear you. Yeah. But it's been like a sort of a weird driving force that obviously I have, everybody has doubts, but they've always been overpowered by that feeling that it is the right path.
Well, where would you like to go from here?
I'm enjoying sitting with this idea that felt a little bit unconventional, but actually now feels really expansive and right. I think the fear of making a mistake is still kind of there a little bit. I think that's probably because I'm making these decisions on my own for the first time, probably ever. These big decisions. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's powerful.
Yeah, I guess it is. Yeah, you flipped it on its head because that's it. Yeah, it is powerful, and I'd never really thought about it that way. Yeah.
And what if I were to tell you there are no mistakes, there are no wrong choices, right? There's just what we decide to do. And if we give our heart to that decision, we're honoring ourselves and our choices and our sovereignty.
Yeah, I've done so many things that have almost like burning things down and started again that it sometimes feels reckless without people even saying it to me, like friends and family, they're almost questioning it. So yeah, it feels quite powerful is a good word. What's come to me now is this, when you mentioned earlier about the support, I think I often keep all this to myself and therefore people don't really know how to support me. Recently my sister was like, well, you don't tell us what you're doing. And so I think that's something that I'll take with me from this actually. How do people know how to help if you don't share what I'm doing?
Yeah, when we ask, when we share, we open up our ability to receive.
Yeah, and I guess that the fear is if I'm not fully feeling it myself, then I'm worried that if I tell someone and they're like, oh my God, that's crazy, that'll change my mind. So I think having that, like you say, that sovereignty to be able to say, no, this is what I'm doing. Yes, it may not work out, but it could be amazing. It could be magical.
That actually, like, as I hear you saying that, sounds like a practice that I want to offer to you to get more in touch with your heart and what you want, whereby you tell people and you let them have their opinion and their ideas about what you should or should not be doing. And then you sit with that to really use it as a tool for you to know what you really want. Like, what's in my heart? That's what they said. But how does that really affect me or resonate with me? And
Mm.
almost like play a game with it.
Yeah, I like that. Almost to like test it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Is that true for me? Is it crazy? I don't think so.
Yeah. Yeah, that does feel good actually. Feels like fun. Yeah, and I need fun after, yeah, fun is a welcome thing.
Mhm.
Mm,
And remember, feedback, when people give us feedback, it's really not about us. It's about them and what they believe about the world.
mm,
It's
yes,
nothing to do with you and your experience.
yes, yes, you're right, definitely. That's something I really need to remember.
Well, does this feel like an okay place to land today?
Yeah, thank you very much. It's been
Mm,
really, really helpful.
you're so welcome. Thank you. Thanks so much for tuning in today and making your personal and spiritual growth a priority in your life. If you enjoyed this podcast, I'd love if you could please leave a 5-star review, as it helps the show to grow and assists me on my mission of having intuition be a part of everybody's life. For more information on reconnecting with your heart and intuition, head on over to my website, www.themodernDayIntuitive.com, where you can listen to free meditations, sign up to be a guest on the podcast, learn how you can work with me in person, find links to my social media platforms, and much more. And a big thank you from my heart to yours for making the planet a better place by having the courage to look inward to develop your intuition.